COVID-19 cases soaring in Gauteng, as we know, and the Defend Our Democracy movement says now is not the time to defy COVID-19 safety regulations. We'll tell that to politicians, it seems. The organisation has condemned the EFF's Friday mass gathering outside the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority offices, and also slamming supporters of suspended ANC Secretary General Magashule, who gathered at the Johannesburg High Court last week. We've all seen those visuals, many people not wearing masks. A member of the secretariat, it's Dipak Patel, joining me here on eNCA. And Dipak, good morning to you. And it's not just the last two events that I'm referring to. We could go even further back to the former president, Jacob Zuma's court case down in Pietermaritzburg, and on and on and on. It doesn't send a very good picture. So you're condemning this, but what would you like to see happen to stop this happening in the future?
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to your listeners. First of all, let me say that all political parties especially, and politicians in particular, should be aware that what we have is a third wave of the pandemic. And your previous speaker sketched the grim reality of what that means for our people and what that means for our health system. Any attempt to mobilize politically and any attempt to throw stones between political parties at this juncture is not the right thing to do. It endangers people's lives, and in fact, it creates not only lawlessness, which I'll come back to in a second, but in fact, what it does is creates an incendiary environment in which super spreader events unfold, further threatening and laboring our health system. What we would like to see as Defend Our Democracy is, in fact, the law authorities conducting themselves in a way that defends and upholds the law. No one is above the law, whether it be a political party or a politician. Those who flout the law must pay the price of having flouted the law. And so we would like to see the law enforcement authorities step up to the plate and, in fact, discharge their duties.
I spoke to the SAPS yesterday on this very, very issue. Dipak, I asked the question, if you can see at these political rallies, there are members of either the political party or people who are just now forming part of the crowd that are there not wearing masks, why are you not arresting them? And I was told that there is ongoing investigations when they find out that someone has violated the regulation to not wear a mask. Is that good enough? That just seems like a lot of red tape, and it's never going to force people to wear their masks. A suggestion could be spot fines or simply arrest someone on the spot if they're not wearing a mask.
Agreed, Gareth, but I think a bigger issue here is, in fact, the deliberate and open flouting of the regulations as it relates to gatherings. And so we would say, before you talk about the individuals wearing masks or not wearing masks, there is a hierarchy of laws that are being flouted. And if there are gatherings that are in violation of COVID regulations, then those gatherings, in our opinion, should in fact be stopped, should be dispersed, and the law enforcement authorities should take responsibility for doing that.
If we talk about responsibility, Dipak, as well, let's talk about those political gatherings for a moment. I will have the politicians say they can't control everybody that comes out to support them and are there on their days of court cases and political rallies. If you look at these particular events, the EFF, those supporting Magashule, the former president, on the day, who would you like to see be held responsible for their supporters not adhering to regulations? Someone needs to be held accountable somewhere, surely.
It is accountability, but it is also behavioral sense on the part of organizations and leaders. As Defend Our Democracy, when we released our statement yesterday, we also questioned why it is that at a time when people, certain individuals, are being looked at by the legal system for possible criminal activity in the past, that becomes a rallying point. And so we want to say that people must begin to look through the motives of certain politicians as well as certain political parties as they mobilize incendiary events and, in fact, take up issues which, in our opinion, are flagrant conveyance of fake news. So we would like to see political parties being held accountable, not only for the people that they bring together at these rallies, but, in fact, held accountable also for the incendiary way in which they mobilize their constituencies and the irrational and irresponsible way in which they bring together people to take up issues which appear to be red herrings, which appear to be things that simply distract us from the very essence of what the criminal justice system needs to do to deal with people who have been accused of and in fact have been formally charged with corruption. We believe that certain politicians and certain political parties mobilize these incendiary and irresponsible events in order to distract us from attention being paid to misdemeanors that they themselves might have caused in the past.
Dipak Patel, member of the Secretariat of Defend Our Democracy, that campaign. My thanks to you this morning in joining us here on eNCA.